Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer and this is the UK Northern Powerhouse and Transport Fever 2. This is going to be episode number 61 in the series, and in this episode I'd like to get the line built from Preston over towards Bolton in order for us to be able to put on some more Blackpool services, because I think a lot of the services do hinge on that line being in place. We've currently just departed Blackpool North on this Grand Central service. I know Grand Central have unfortunately decided to cancel, well, they were going to put the service in place, but they've decided to cancel the plans for this service because of Corona and whatnot. But I just decided it would be nice, and someone did say in the comments also that it would be nice to see the Grand Central consist just being used on the... I've only put one on from Blackpool down to Stafford. As far as I can make out, the intended service was going to be Blackpool, a couple of other stops, Preston, and then it was going to be non-stop down to London Euston. So we're just going Blackpool, Preston, right down to Stafford non-stop, and it's just nice to appreciate this unit and the mod itself as well, because obviously can't really use it in any realistic sense, but it's just nice to appreciate the actual mod itself as it heads off towards Preston. It just about fits in Blackpool North Station. I've gone for the fixed formation, which you can just, if you go to buy vehicles, you go to all, it's down there, it's fixed consist already built for you, so it's already in the right formation. So 162, so yeah, just a couple of meters longer than I think the platforms on the Blackpool station platforms. So yeah, what have we got going on in Blackpool? Not a lot. It's still relatively small, 280. We do have 11,000 destinations, which is pretty good. Frequency on this is, what is the frequency on this? I didn't check. Liverpool to Blackpool North, 6-minute frequency, so it's not massively frequent, but it should be frequent enough for now. We are going to put obviously other services in, and once that happens, then obviously Blackpool should start to grow a little bit more. I've been trying desperately to try and encourage it to grow along the coast where the tram stops are, just kind of get the growth to go along here, but as usual the game has, well, the AI rather, has other ideas, so I'm just demolishing roads, which probably isn't helping the growth, but I'm trying to force it to grow down along here, because I've got these lovely roads that I put out and there's a tram stop and everything, and they don't want to build over here for whatever reason, which is a little bit frustrating. Now what we need to do in this episode, we've got Blackpool down to Bolton. Now Bolton already has a line into Manchester, which is handy, but obviously it doesn't go anywhere, it just terminates there. So, but before I do that, I wanted to do another junction, which is Farington Curve Junction, which it would be around here somewhere, and this allows us to go over towards Rochdale and down to Ormskirk, which is going to be around here. So it come from, where would Ormskirk be? About here-ish, and then it's going to come up to a junction which is here, which is relatively complicated looking junction actually. What's the sort of terrain around here? Is pretty hilly. So what, actually here, that looks better. I think the junction itself is a little bit out of Preston, so I think if we do build it about here, that will do the job nicely. The junction itself it's relatively interesting. Let's just get that train out of the way. Oh yeah, that's the Grand Central is going off. Actually, having said that, before we do any more, we need to name some trains. I almost completely forgot. So I said in the last episode about the patrons, I've changed the perks for those just to improve them a little bit. So what we're doing is, for tier 2 patrons, every 6 episodes I get a new train named after them, and tier 1 get a train every 10 episodes named after them. I think that's the fairest way to do it, just so it's a rolling benefit rather than just a one-off for every series. So what are we looking for? We're looking for some trains, aren't we? Now we should have plenty of trains for this to work. Actually no, if we go, what am I doing? Avanti, what have we got on the Avanti? We've got Flint Stafford, so we've got some class 80 somethings or other. So I'll name a different one for each person. We are starting from day 1 here, so first of all we've got any Warrior 1405 Express. They're O's Expresses. Let's see, another Avanti service. We've got the Liverpool one with the face mask covering for Transport Gamer. just making sure I've spelt everything right. What else have we got? We've got the Avanti Pride, the Progress train. We'll give to Pika. What else we've got? We've got a few. We've got one more on the Oxenholme Stafford to name. You can be the Transport Fever World Express. Have I named the wrong one? I've just renamed. Why didn't that work? Okie dokie. So the Progress train is now the Transport Fever World Express, and this one here, if I can actually click on it this time, is Pika Express. And what else? Actually, we've got some Class 810s, haven't we? I try and use a decent train if I'm going to name a train anyway. Might have to start going into the less decent trains in future, but we'll see how this plays out. And then this is the Adam Express. So there we are. Just say that just as a little thank you and recognition to the patron supporters. Now back to the task in hand. We were coming over here, weren't we? Now we don't. That signal block section's quite big, isn't it? I just want to measure this building. So we want, doesn't really matter, just anything. Length is, what is it? 240. Well, let's just do 280 just in case. I'm pretty sure a station is a 260, isn't it? So it wants to be somewhere about there. You can see my magic finger pointing at on the screen. Of course you can. Right, just put that signal in there like that. That should have been one way, of course. So if you just chuck these in for now, just as a marker, just for that block section, and these are all, well, it doesn't really matter because some of these might be deleted shortly, but we'll leave a block section in there, and then we'll have the junction coming out from here. Now, I don't think this is electrified, not entirely sure, but we will. What I'll do is I'll do the normal thing that I do is yeah, I'll do that. Try and have a little short. No, construction not possible. Yes, it is. Why is it not possible? Of course it is. Parallel tracks catenary. Yes, that's fine. Why are you being so awkward? Maybe I'll come off from here then. Right, so I'll do a short section of catenary to about there, and then coming in. Actually, I didn't check the speed of that junction, didn't I? But never mind. And then coming out from here to there, and then we need a switch in here. Oh god, that's that's pretty hideous, isn't it? Let's do that again. I think we can do a little bit better than that. I wasn't looking, was I? Right, so I don't know if there's something there. It's just not very happy, is it? Right, so let's take a look. So that actually needs to go uphill with that, doesn't it? In order for it to work. Let's maybe improve the speed a little bit, but it does have to take a hard. If we're coming from this way, has to take a hard left in a minute anyway. But what we need a switch from here. Too much curve, and then this. I think I want that to be. I need to start coming down. I think to about there. Then that to there, and then from that we have another bit which comes off something a bit like that anyway, and that needs to run off. Can you not be downhill so much? And actually, looking at the map, I have done that wrong anyway. So this does want to run up from here. Is that going to let me put a piece of track in? So try and come up as quickly as possible. Is it going to let me come out of there? Yes, it is. And then from here, a single track comes off like that. Let's just check that. Let's see what that looks like. I know the only problem is it's a little bit up in the air, but never mind. Now this track, actually I didn't realise all the way down to Ormskirk is single track, whereas in the last time I did this, I had it, I think, double track, so I'll have a single track section coming off there now. This, I think, right, let's get the Grand Central train out of the way, because we are going to have to, I think, do a little bit of work with the West Coast Main Line itself. You got the way enough yet before another train comes? Right, so this curves around. This is the West Coast Main Line is going to have to come down a little bit, I think, in order to get the other track over the top of it. I thought it was, I thought this track went under the West Coast Main Line, but it turns out it goes over. So we need to delete all of this and hope we don't have a big gouge. You shouldn't do, it's not really a massive hill, is it? We can get rid of that little bit of a viaduct. So if you come from here, I've lost the West Coast Main Line. So coming down, you want to come down. It is going to be a little bit of a gouge by the looks of it. Hopefully we've done enough to get this up and over. Let's just have a look. If I bring this right up, collision, oh there we are. Right, so I'll bring it to there on a embankment, and it is almost at, no, we're not going to be able to do that. It's almost at 90, I think it is actually, the bridge is at 90 degrees to the West Coast Main Line, but we're not going to be able to do it. What my... Right, let's try this again from... Not from there. Too much curve. Construction not possible, too much curve. Can I just put that in? Maybe? That's just doing something wacky. Come on, let me just have a... Can I come from this end then, maybe? Too much curve. Too much of everything. Oh, we've got rid of that. Have we got rid of that switch? Yes, we have. We're gonna have to redo this whole thing again. Right, and this, because it won't let us snap to there. Well, it doesn't... I haven't had much success trying to snap from there in the past. So bring that... I think we are going to have to slow right down, I think. Bring this down to there. Curve it. No, I've done it from the wrong track. This was... I know this junction is relatively complicated, but it's not not as complicated as I'm making it look. So let's just try that again. But 40, I think we'll have to live with. Maybe a little... Yeah, something like that. Where's the switch motors? There. Bring that round. Put our switch in here. Too much curve. Come on, a little bit more. That's better. Get rid of this track here. That's definitely not electrified. Need to remember that. And then I think if we start curving this round and going uphill, it is going to have to be slow, unfortunately. And then if that just goes off there, making sure we're not glitching. Can I bring that edge of that down a little bit, maybe? Yeah, I think we can get away with that. Let's just double check it. Right, so that's the extent to which the catenary is going, and now we're non-electrified. So if we come round as much as we can, we're not even any higher than we were to begin with, are we? Right, so we've got that. Get rid of all this. I think we are going to have to go down a little bit more than I wanted to with the West Coast Main Line, just to get this up and over. That should do it, I think, hopefully. We are a little bit tight into that, but is that going to let us do it, are you? Yes, I think I will have a straight bridge on the flat, please. No, flat. Don't want it to be curved or anything, or arched, and then we'll just go with the standard girder bridge, something like that. I would have liked that to have been a bit more 90 degrees to the west coast, but don't think we're going to do it. And then I think if we just chuck that into there, too much slope. Right, so we're going to have to bring this right back to where it goes to 2 tracks, unfortunately. That's a bit frustrating. Right, get rid of all this, and you make sure there's no little bits of track left in the way. And then we want the catenary as well, don't we? So we'll bring this to that. We're not having a tunnel. We are going to have a gouge, which I will fix at some point. And then bring this to about here, and this bit to here, and then we'll just merge that in. What's my mouse doing? So we want a nice fast junction if we can. 76, 86. Might have to do. Can that join that? It will do. Good. Yeah, because the trains merging onto these 2 lines are on, I guess you'd call them the slows, the up-down slows here. Anyway, so I think 86 will do. Let's just make sure everything is... No, that section there is not electrified. Good thing I checked before unpausing the game. And hopefully everything should be just fine. Yeah, so we've got... Obviously they'll be on these 2 tracks anyway, but the Grand Central and the Blackpool Liverpool service, because they do go off to that direction, so any trains on this section will be on these 2 tracks going off to Blackpool, that is. And then we want a signal there, and then we'll have one here. Is that glitching? No, I think it's just acceptable. And I guess we're going to have a 2-way. Nope, I've done it the wrong way again, haven't I? That'll have to be a 2-way signal. That has to be a 1-way, and that is a 1-way as well. And then we need to get rid of that. That should all be just fine. Now, do have trains kind of backing up a bit. Now we'll get the building, just measure this out, so to there. Just another block section as we lead into Preston. Again, I've done it 2-way, which it wants to be 1-way, like so. Quickly change that one, and that should all be fine, I think. So I'm just going to leave that in there for now. Let's just take a look. It is a little bit, it's going to have to go up a bit. No, actually that's all right. It comes off like the West Coast Main Line, almost runs at 90 degrees to the West Coast Main Line towards Burnley. Now the next junction is the one which goes to Bolton. And whereabouts is that? Okie dokie, so that's not actually that far away, but it is on the 4-track section. But what I need to do is pause it again before we go any further. What I want to do is I usually do this sort of stuff off camera, but I just want to get rid of some of this gouge, because our junction's going to be around here somewhere, going off towards Bolton. I guess it could be a bit further, south, but it is. It's not that far south going off the scale. So what we need to do is we need a set of points which are almost like steps. So catenary, yes. So we need one from here, 148, and needs to be quite fast. So this is going to be quite a big block section, unfortunately. But it's a toss-up really between having too big of a block section or having slow turnouts on your switches, which I think I'd rather have faster switches, just to get the trains out of the way of the West Coast Main Line as quickly as humanly possible, because otherwise it is a big kind of conflict area. And then we've got the track which bears off from that's better. Yeah, half decent speed would be nice, I think, for this. And this needs to come up so we're not glitching horribly. And yeah, we've made a big hole there, but never mind, I will fix that later. And then from that switch there, it's almost like a fifth track to there, which hasn't actually created a fifth section of track, but I think I will leave that as it is. Now the signalling needs to be adjusted a little bit, so we've got this one is an up and this one is an up as well, as far as I'm aware anyway. And then we've got a down line there, which obviously needs a signal there and a signal there, so we'll get rid of these ones here actually, like so that should be correctly signalled. So if we're coming on the down from Bolton, coming onto this line here, then we're going to switch onto that, then that, and then that. It's quite a big bottleneck there potentially, isn't it, for trains, especially the Blackpool services crossing right over the West Coast Main Line in order to get onto that track there, but that's the way it is. Okie dokie, so that's that junction done. The train does look particularly hideous, but I will fix that at some point. Now what we need to do is actually we are quite a fair way south actually for this junction, and I'm just looking at Bolton. I just need to double check the track because I haven't looked, and actually it is quite curvaceous-ish, although possibly not as curvaceous as I'm making it out to be. Have I electrified it? As possibly haven't I? But we won't from there. She has this, I think. No, this is electrified, isn't it? Pretty sure it is, because there was a bit of a problem, wasn't it, when this junction got electrified on the Chatmoss line. The Transpennine Express services switched to using this because they went to the class 350s, and kind of Bolton basically lost the service for a while. But I think this cell line has been electrified now. Yes, it definitely has, and now services are starting to I think the Transpennine Express services switched back to using the Bolton route to get up to the West Coast Main Line, I think, anyway. Now, having said that as well, the reason I know that is because of the tunnel, which I'm not sure where it is. So again, need to go back to the map, but there is a tunnel of significance on this route. Actually, I tell a lie, it's not on that route at all. It's actually should be around here somewhere, but I don't think we're going to be able to force it to have a tunnel. I'm just thinking of the Farnworth tunnel. It was particular interest because it had to be basically, they had to fill it full of concrete and then rebore it in order to electrify this route. So this route here, just before we go any further and before I forget, should all be electrified now. That was one of the big hold-ups on this particular part of the electrification programme, was I guess that should be electrified and then electrified into Manchester Victoria as well. It was one of the big hold-ups on the project basically, but can we force a tunnel in here somewhere? I know I often don't feature tunnels very much, but I only put them in if they exist or if there's a particular tunnel of particular note or interest. So I guess we'll have an attempt here, won't we? So obviously the scale is completely off as usual with this, but I think we should be able to do something or other. Just force a tunnel here, get that from about there. That should be, nope, not there, from there. And then I'll have to do some playing around with the terrain, I guess, to get that to work a little bit better, make it look a little bit nicer. So into there, we'll just have the little Farnworth tunnel, look it up, it is particularly interesting. And then just make sure this is all electrified into Bolton, and then electrify Bolton station as well. The crossing doesn't need to be electrified, I don't think. And I've put a platform in there for some reason. I'm not entirely sure what it would be used for. I might connect it up to something at some point, I guess. Right, and then we'll get on with the actual, what we're supposed to be doing is not having, yeah, I really messed the terrain up there, didn't I? So let's get rid of this silly viaduct in a ditch and then smooth that off. Well, not smooth it, but get rid of this hole that I've created because I took the terrain from the wrong place basically, didn't I? So get rid of that, smooth it off a little bit to there. Now I'm going to have to do a lot of work with the terrain around here, and then get the track to come down a little bit, so not quite as much as it is here, but it does follow the West Coast Main Line a little bit for a while, and then it starts to kind of curves in, heads off. Yeah, we're going to have loads of gouges, aren't we? I am going to have to do a lot of work with the terrain, because just checking the open rail map, didn't appear to be any other tunnels actually heading towards Bolton, so this is going to be pretty ugly looking until I've sorted this out, and then in the next episode when I show you the route you wouldn't even have known, hopefully that's the plan anyway, that there was just a massive ugly gouge in the terrain. Make it look a little bit more natural using the height map texture tool, which is it's quite good actually, just makes your terrain look a little bit more interesting than it otherwise would, and then just chuck that straight into there. No more tunnels, don't think there's any viaducts of any note or anything on this route, and then just chuck that onto there like that. So it's relatively straightforward-ish, it's just the terrain is ugly, and that junction there was quite complicated. And what I want here actually is just, again, we'll use the magic measuring stick. Actually no, we won't. Right, I think what I want to do is just extend, so the last point is about there, so we want a signal there, and I'll extend the 4 tracking a bit further than it probably should be. All I'm thinking is I just want another close block section to this junction, so I'll rebuild that. What's that, 65? No, that's very slow. 70, 75 will do. Get back up to speed pretty quickly after that. Into there like that. Signal there, and then just one as it splits off. Just space for a train to wait here and get up. A train coming down on the up to wait here and not foul the junction. Basically is what I was trying to achieve there. Now everything's broken because I put this junction in right. What it's tried to do is repair itself, hasn't it? After the let's put a Belize in. Yeah, let's put those in. They look better. I know there wouldn't be any because it's ETCS, isn't it? But I guess we could just pretend they're track signals and they act as waypoints, which looks better than the standard waypoint you get. Good. So what was I doing? So what we need to do is the routes that we've got visible, so the northern Liverpool Blackpool coming from Blackpool Preston, and now it's broken. Right, we'll pause the game, and the Grand Central wants to do the same, so Blackpool Preston. No, you shouldn't. Don't understand why you're broken all of a sudden. Have I broken the electrification? That's probably the reason, isn't it? No, I haven't. Have I missignaled anything? So we're coming up. Yes, I have. That's why, because I put a signal there. That's supposed to be an up. So that's the down, and this is the up. Which, yeah, that's the up. So that should all be fine now. This is an up. That's fine. And then a signal there. Yeah, just put an incorrectly placed signal was the issue there. So that's all nicely split off. Good. So now we want a new service. So it's, what is it? There is, I think people were saying a Blackpool service to York. Okay, so there's a York via Burnley. Right, I think what I will do for now is I won't put a new route in. Pause the game. I'm going to come down to here. This one here has always just been a kind of just to get a route into Bolton basically. I think what I'll do is just take this route. So Manchester, Victoria, Bolton, Preston, Blackpool, and then what I will do is I'll extend that out at some point. I'll extend it to where it's supposed to be going at some point basically, just so it's more realistic what's going on. Yeah, that's all fine. So I will just put question mark and then Blackpool for now, and then that route we've just put on, get rid of that lonely little shuttle. Yes. And then what I'm going to do is put on some electrics, 321s, 32 whatever they are, 32 somethings on that route, because obviously it's electrified now. Just quickly double check that before I wrap it up now. See, there's a little bit there that's not electrified. Don't need that diamond crossing anymore actually. And this track here as well can be upgraded leading into the station, and this bit as well leading out of the back. Now something is broken. I think it's just the fact it hasn't got any trains on it. Let's pause the game. Yes, I know. I will. What? I don't actually. Is that? Why is that doing that? Oh right, it's trying 2 terminals. So what is that? That's platform 1. You want to be on platform 2. That's why you're broken. That's better, isn't it? And there is a switch, isn't there? Yeah, there's a switch in Manchester Victoria, so they can turn around for now until I've decided where it's actually going. Now having said that, I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, so I did actually plan out to have a service via Rochdale, I think, or was it Burnley? No, via Burnley, possibly. Yeah, of course it is, because we've just built that junction which is going to go across to Burnley, and then that goes to York. But there is this service here which I've just messed around with, actually wants to be Manchester Airport, doesn't it? Rather than Manchester Victoria, which just means we've got to add yet another service to this already congested part of the network. So it's Bolton, Manchester Piccadilly, and then Manchester Airport, like so, and obviously that's going to be electric units. So actually that is a northern Blackpool North to Manchester Airport, and that needs to be coloured as such, but I think we've used every sort of blue that's available, have we? Or have we? Actually no, we can use the darkest blue that we've got just to set it apart. Well, I haven't said that, I've used the darkest blue possible for the Blackpool service. Is a real mess around it. Just look at the number of services using this Manchester Piccadilly platforms here now is just absolutely madness. So let's just want to set it apart. That's the problem, it needs to be set apart from the other route, but do we have... What's this one? I think I've used that as well, haven't I? Possibly. It's not the end of the world anyway. Good. So that's in there now. I guess also, having said that, is that another... Ah, no, it's not. It's just a service. So we've got Transpennine Express, Manchester International, Manchester Airport to Oxenholme. I am pretty sure that did switch once the line via Bolton was electrified. I'm pretty sure that did switch to Bolton. So I guess Wigan North Western's not really going to miss any services. It does already have enough services on the West Coast main line anyway. So Manchester Piccadilly, oh dear, it didn't like that, did it? Not sure why it didn't like it though. This will be fun. Nope, that should be fine. And then on the return, Preston. It's not happy, is it? Preston, Bolton, Manchester Piccadilly. Let's change the colour of that to bright yellow for now. Right, so we're on. What are we on here? Yeah, we're all fine. Coming down on the up line, and then yeah, that's fine. I don't know why that's coming down. Yeah, that's fine. That's switching onto that. I don't know why the northerly service, the northbound service, is going onto that, but maybe it's because of some platform alterations at Bolton, more than likely. 3 wants to be on 2, still hasn't fixed it. Manchester Piccadilly to Bolton should be perfectly possible. Terminals, Manchester Airport, Manchester Piccadilly. I don't understand why it's broken. So this is platform 7, that's right, heading out. So yeah, Manchester Airport, Manchester Piccadilly, Bolton. Is there a little bit that hasn't been electrified or something, possibly? Nope, it is all electric, even though it's saying Manchester. Oh, that's reverted to third rail, never mind. This has stumped me, this. I've just been having a bit of a look, and I can't, because this is almost identical, but it is identical to the Blackpool North to Manchester Airport service, in as much as it uses Manchester Piccadilly platform 7 and Bolton platform 2, and it's just not having any of it. And now we've got trains sat, so I think what I'm going to do is these, actually we're going to sell those and we'll have to put them back on. I just can't understand. Just double check the electrification. I think the electrification is, oh damn, 1. That's all that was. That was all that was standing in the way, was 1 little tiny piece of track. Right, never mind. So that's all fine. That's not electrified to Burnley. I'm pretty certain about that. But that's electrified, and we may as well electrify that bit of track as well. Don't think we're going to have any services reversing at Bolton, but we'll leave that there anyway. So I've got a lot of work to do with the terrain anyway, but that's all working now, which is what we want. So I've got to schedule some trains. I've got the Blackpool to Manchester Airport service, and the Oxenholme to Blackpool, the Oxenholme to Manchester Airport service to schedule as well. I don't think Wigan has lost out really. No, it's still got 20,000 destinations reachable. It's got plenty of services, and it's going to have some more as well when we finally put Wigan something or other. Never name that station. What is it? Wigan Walgate. Let's get that renamed like so. So we're going to have services going into Wigan Walgate into. Is that into Bolton, or is it just into Manchester? No, I think it's just straight into Manchester, isn't it? Although having said that, there is a branch which goes to... There's a branch which connects here to this bit, which I've already put in place, but there's also a bit which comes off to Lostock as well, which can go into Bolton if needs be, but I'm not sure if we've got any services running on that yet. So there we are. We've done this little bit of a junction here. I know it's pretty ugly, but it will do the job. I've got a lot of work to do on that I've got a lot of work to do, but we'll leave you. I think I'll leave you with the Grand Central service. Just celebrate. It's just a nice looking consist, isn't it, more than anything. It's just unfortunate that it's probably never going to get used, or not anytime soon anyway. So I'm going to leave you with that anyway and say until next time, bye bye.